the opportunity here to talk about what we've heard and what we think will flow from the discussions we've held today. But first of all, perhaps it'd be useful just to do a quick set of introductions. Catherine, who I got mixed up with Katerina earlier, so apologies for that. Do you want just a quick introduction?
Yes, so my name's Catherine Berzins. I'm a research fellow in the Impact team based at UConn.
Impact is our implementation support team. I'm Mark Gabay. I'm leader of this theme, and I'm a GP and academic at the University of Liverpool. Graham?
Hi, good morning. Well, just lunchtime actually, but I'm Graham Smith and I'm from Liverpool John Moores University. I'm a reader in mental health and very much interested in user-centric innovation across the lifespan, worked with people with dementia as well.
Katerina?
Yeah, I'm the lead for mental health equity mainstreaming in ARC based in Lancaster. And my background is in mental health, so this is all very interesting.
Great. Debbie?
Hi everyone, I'm Debbie. I do administration in ARC.
Thank you. Pippa?
Hi, I'm Pippa Atkinson. I'm a PhD student based at UConn, but I'm a health visitor by background.
Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, hi, Paul Moran. I'm one of the public advisors and a co-theme lead for the HaCaL theme.
I think Jo was meant to be joining us, who's another one of our professional co-lead, but I think she's had to go to a clinical case conference, so she'll join us when she gets a chance, I think. Kate?
Hi, I'm a fourth year pharmacy student at John Moores, and I'm currently doing my research project in paediatric mental health in response to the...
Is that with Graham or somebody else?
No, it's with Alice McCloskey.
Right. And Anna Harden?
Hi, I'm a clinical research practitioner for Merseycare Foundation Trust. We facilitate a wide variety of research, so everything's been really interesting this morning, so thank you.
Great. So I don't think we have any sort of firm objectives for this discussion. And Debbie, just remind me, how long have we got for it?
25 minutes and will be moved back automatically.
So I think what we're aiming to do is to get some reflections on what you've heard this morning, but let me just place it in context. So the idea of the theme meetings is that we hear proposals and we hear about the activity within the theme, and then it gives an opportunity for people who are at the theme to say which projects they might be interested in getting more engaged in and being part of, either ones that are already proposed or up and running. It might inspire them to think of things that they want to get involved in, or they may ask about areas that they haven't heard about, but they may wonder if there's anything else happening that they would like to get engaged in that is more focused on their particular interests. And also to think about people that they know, either in their own organization or somewhere else, who isn't here but should be here, and if they can invite them to join us. So it's about building those teams, getting the feedback and engagement of the people who are at these theme meetings to take part in our program. So I think I'd like to start with Paul, who is leading our adolescent sub-theme, and Paul is a co-lead of the theme. So one of the things we set out when we put our bid together for this ARC is that we had academic lead, which is what the NIHR expect the bid and judge the bid by the quality of the academic lead as part of the way that they decide which bids that they want to fund. But we added to that we wanted to have co-leads who were not academics or formally academics, and that we wanted our public advisors to be seen to be up front and central in our theme. So we have two what we call public advisor co-leads in each of our themes, and Paul and Dorcas are that for this theme, and you've heard them both this morning. And we also have a professional lead. At the moment, we don't have the co-lead, we just the additional co-lead, we just have the one, and that's Dr. Joe Blair, who works at Alder Hey. So that we can represent all the main constituencies that are part of an applied research collaboration: the academics, the workforce, and the public. And as you can see, that we hope that that helps people feel that they can genuinely engage with our work. Our work is based on a principle of co-production, so that all of those constituents are involved in all of our work, which is why it's really good to have a variety of different types of people in this meeting, and both in the subgroup and the wider meeting, because we're very keen to see that our work reflects all the different perspectives. So Paul, do you want to sort of talk a bit more about what you're hoping to get from today and what you're hoping we will do?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So obviously everybody's just heard my presentation. As Mark said, 12 months ago, coming into this co-theme role, probably didn't really know what it was going to be. And if 12 months ago you would have said, we're kind of looking for you to lead, a bid for research, I probably would have laughed at you. But over the last 12 months, I really kind of got into the role, really started thinking about this stuff that I do in the community, and how kind of, this public advisor and co-theme role can really help people in our community. I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy who works for a bank and does a bit of boxing and coaches in the community, and does a number of other things around my community. But this has really given me the opportunity to start thinking bigger, and start thinking about how I can help more people, not just in my local community, but across the city and across the Northwest Coast. So I'm probably really keen to just ask the question really about, did any of the topics within my presentation earlier kind of hit home with anybody that's in the group? And what are your thoughts on some of these things and ideas that I kind of had around the COVID generation? Do you think I'm on the right lines, and do you think it's a good idea to be building some research funding, research bids to look at kind of mental health in young people as a whole? Let that filter out to the group if anybody's got any thoughts.
I've just raised my hand, Paul. Sorry, I think somebody else was going to say something, but I was going to say absolutely. My interest area is I'm a mental health nurse by background. Do a lot of work in dementia, but it's actually around co-creation and value co-creation, and thinking about how we generate solutions. So it's more about that strengths-based type approach. And some of the work that we're doing now with Alder Hey, for example, is thinking about, if we work with a generation now, children and young people, they are modifiable risk factors in potentially preventing dementia in old age. And we don't really focus on that a lot. We don't think that the work that we do with the younger generation or across the lifespan can actually have a positive impact going forward. And we don't really collect a lot of data within that space and understand the impact of some of the work that we do with children and young people, and what that may mean in later life, for example. So
into the UK setting, and whether there are lessons that can be learned for how we can modify, and we haven't talked to Atif about that. I know he's very busy, but that's something that might be worth taking back to Dorcas, is how we might back translate some of the learning from low and middle income countries back into the UK. Kate, Anna, anything you want to add?
Sorry, you cut out then. What were you saying, Mark?
So, Kate and Anna, do you want to come in, talk about your reflections?
I haven't got anything particularly focused on anything. I just really enjoyed the whole thing, because within our department, we cover dementia and later life, but we also do like a lot of perinatal stuff, so, and everything in between really. So it was really good to see some faces out there that are within these sectors. So yeah, it's been really interesting. Haven't really got much to add, really.
So, Kate, you're at Merseycare, is that right? Or is that Anna?
No, I'm at John Moores.
Right, so it's Anna that's at Merseycare, is that right?
Yeah.
So, Anna, one of the things that we found out yesterday is I applied as director of the ARC back in August for supplementary funding to develop the capacity for mental health research and implementation research across the Northwest Coast region. I heard yesterday, rather delayed, but that was successful. So, and your R&D lead at Merseycare is now aware of that. So what we're planning to do is over the next 3 years is to set up communities of practice, connected research community approach that we use in Impact to bring together teams that are looking at evaluating innovation or the implementation of innovation and evaluating that process into collective, regular, themed meetings where they run the project with support wrapped around them from academics and with each other, as we did in something called the Partner Priority Programme in Clark, with a particular focus around mental health. And we'll also add into that some early career researchers who will be able to apply for part-time fellowships to help them develop grant proposals and fellowship applications. And we will probably build a group around them of public and professionals so they have this co-produced approach and bring them into the same sort of annual rolling program. The idea being that we can build the capacity within the member organizations for undertaking research projects, understanding the process and implementing research into practice, but also getting early career researchers a protected time to further develop their career. And we haven't heard what's happened to the other applicants around the country, but there's potential to tap into senior academics in Oxford and South London, the Institute, for example, who will also be offering secondments and fellowships for methodological development for people who are early career researchers. So really quite an exciting opportunity. And we're also going to be collaborating quite closely across the North, because this was about investing in the North where the need is, but the delivery is lacking. So it's particularly building northern capacity and of course guarding against those people that trip down to Oxford and London from then moving to Oxford and London, but actually staying here.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting, Mark.
Yeah, so that'll be something that we'll be able to put a bit more resource behind this. It'll be competitive, obviously, but the other thing is the internship call, as I said earlier, is just out. So please look at the website. If you or your colleagues have a particular project you'd want some support in delivering, then the internships is a way that your organization and our organization 50-50 funds a day a week out to do the project and put some support and academic mentorship and guidance around the interns.
Yeah, I'll feed that back to my team. So thank you.
We're probably running tight on time, are we, Debbie?
We've got 2 minutes left, Mark.
So any main messages, anything anybody hasn't said or anything you want to add? I mean, I hope that what will come is that some, if not all of you will sort of put your name down for joining further discussions into some of the projects you've heard about today. Go and look at the website and see what's going on. And if you're not linked to something already and you're interested in being so, then please do. And the academics in the room, please go back to your academic colleagues, because we need their input as well. It's not just Clarissa and myself that can do this. We need our academic colleagues from across all 5 universities to be providing that academic leadership and support for these projects to work. The idea is that we go out for external funding we might need to do some pilot work to be able to do that. But we don't have lots of money to give out for grants. What we do have is the infrastructure to competitively apply for grants, and that's what we're trying to make us better at, bringing that inward investment into the Northwest Coast, potentially in collaboration with other ARCs, to get that funding in to be able to increase the work, the investment in the sorts of work that we want to do and that our population needs. Any final comments, final thoughts? Okay, so I suggest we just transfer, will be automatically transferred back.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can click the leave room button if you want.
Yeah, you can. It's on the bottom right.
You can see the top group. We've all come back on time. So the what we didn't do in our group was actually decide who was going to feed back. Where's everybody else, Debbie? Shouldn't they all be thrown back in now?
It should be arriving any second.
Yeah, I've just sent a message to Pam.
Anybody volunteering to feedback from our group? Rookie error there. I should have asked that beforehand. Paul, is that you leaning across to volunteer? I mean, I'm happy to if you don't want to.
That was me leaving it 10 seconds to see if anybody else jumped in, Mark, the 10-second rule. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to feedback.
Great, thanks.
Give a quick overview.
And do we have everyone back in the room? Do you know? So the rooms are closed, haven't they?
Not sure where Anne is.
Well, we had two groups, didn't we? So
yeah.
Our group has been around for some time.
Yeah.
And that was the other group to come back. We've lost some people, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, good. Okay. So we're just gonna sort of give a brief overview of what we kind of talked in the different rooms. Should I go first? So in our room, we basically looked at, it was mainly focused really initially on mental health in older adults and in children. There was digital literacy that was brought up basically for people who are older, as we've talked about before, and Clarissa talked about during her presentation, but it's not only for the older people, it's also for, you know, access. And that's what Paul talked about. Not everyone has access to a laptop. So how do we get these people, how do we get better access to these kind of things? We did touch upon intergenerational, and I think this is something that we need to talk about more, because from what I understand, not everyone thinks so much about what about those people who are sitting at home, who are working at home. We can't go into the office. What about their mental health? And I think that's something that we need to discuss more about. Elaine, who was in our group, brought up a really interesting sort of situation where, not situation, but it's basically a sort of a group where before the pandemic, older people used to support young mothers, but after the pandemic happened, it flipped, and the younger people are helping the older people. Some sort of a group, a cafe sort of thing. So that's really interesting. That was really interesting to hear that something like that was actually happening. And also we talked about the mental health of personal carers. So not the paid, not the professional carers, but personal family carers. What about their mental health? And that's what we touched upon as well. And we did touch upon marginalized groups, and maybe need more support from the voluntary sector. And we need to look into that in the future. Mark.
Yeah, I think I'm going to feed back Pallavi. So just a couple of themes. I think everybody really enjoyed the sessions today and all the presentations, so that was really good to hear. A number of people spoke about different things that are happening in the communities at the moment. So Graham was talking about some work that he's doing around young people and how that can really thinking about mental health and other things. And Graham, you can probably articulate this better than me, but how it can really help in later life. So, what can we do with young people today that helps later in life, especially kind of, looking at the end of life care that potentially people get. And Pippa also discussed some great work that, she's doing and a call next week, I think, with some school nurses and, conversations with school nurses and kind of maybe plugging us into some of the things that, maybe I was talking about, that can bring some real life examples about the impact that the pandemic's had in schools and some of the issues that nurses and teachers are seeing on a daily basis off the back of some problems across the pandemic. But really good discussion. Everybody seemed to be really engaged, and a few people will be getting involved in different topics and conversations as we go through. Thanks, Pallavi.
Thanks, Paul. I'll hand it over to you, Mark. Go on.
Yes, thanks. Really interesting. I hope you found it worthwhile. Some really interesting talks. I hope you agree today, and gives us a sense of what we're doing and what we're planning to do. The purpose of bringing everybody together, as I was saying in our breakout room, is that really what we're hoping to do is to provide you with an overview of what our current activities are, or some of them, around mental health. And hopefully that will encourage you to go and look at our website and the web pages for our theme, and to express an interest in engaging with one or more of the teams that are delivering or planning or developing projects within our theme. The core objective is to do work that has the potential to reduce health inequalities. And the underlying principles is that we always think about equity in the way that we do our work, and that it's all about co-production and building capacity. It's not about giving a project to some academics who come back with an answer in some period of time. It's not about academics walking off with a pile of money and bringing something back that may or may not be what you expected. It's about working collaboratively, bringing together the public with academics and the workforce across health and social care, identifying what the problems and solutions might look like, what a research question would be, and then developing the project and delivering the project together right through the process of that, through to writing the papers together at the end. A lot of what we do is either quite contained and therefore linked, for example, to an internship, and I'll talk briefly about that in a minute, or it's about developing an external grant application, because one of the things that we really want to use the art to do is to bring together high quality teams that cover areas that other teams may not, and that are attractive therefore to people awarding grants who say, we want to invest in this because we think this is closer to the action and will deliver something in a relatively short period of time that will make a real difference, so that we stand out from the Oxfords and Londons of this world in our ability to do that. So we want to be developing competitive grant applications, and sometimes we'll need to do some development work to be able to do that. So our role in these meetings is to bring the team together, and the people that come to our meetings, if they see a gap, say, oh, actually, I need to contact so-and-so to bring in, because that's a gap we've got and they'd be really good for this, so I'll go and talk to them. So that we do that together and we sort of snowball to get the dream team together, and that we co-produce the proposals. At the moment, there's a call out for interns. We've just launched that beginning of this week. And this is a mechanism whereby using some of our money and some of the employer's money, if it's an employee, on a 50-50 basis, we're able to buy out up to a day a week of somebody's time to be able to work on a project, implementation of innovation, or evaluating an innovation, for example, or developing a grant or a fellowship application. And it's that buyout time, and part of that is that their line manager says, I guarantee that I will protect this time, and put that in writing, and we will put the wraparound support around that. So that's something that I please share with your colleagues if you have some interest. And that links into what I also announced earlier, that we have this mental health capacity building funding, and there'll be more about that coming out through the ARC in the coming weeks. But we'll be setting up, as we did in the Clark, some partner priority program type initiatives where teams can come together around topics and work together, supported by ARC staff, to develop and deliver projects or grant applications. So hopefully you've all found things of interest today, and hopefully we'll be joining or encouraging colleagues to join some of the work that we're doing. And if you are aware of colleagues who would be ideal for participating in some of the things we're talking about, please do tell them about us and encourage them to come along. And they can do that by emailing us through the website, for example, and we'll point them in the right direction. Debbie, I saw your hand up.
No, sorry, Mark. I was just clapping everyone for the presentations.
Ah, okay. I didn't see the hands moving, but corner of my eye. Sorry. Any comments? Any questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. It's been a really useful day. I hope you all agree. Thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you at the ARC Fest in December. And please do get in touch with us and get in touch with Pallavi or the sub-theme leads. And do encourage your colleagues to come along to the next meeting and come along to the ARC Fest, and hope to see you there. Bye, everybody.